How much profit can $328 pair of earbuds actually make of you? The victim of today's video is my personal Sony WF-1000XM5. Exactly how much profit is Sony taking out of your pocket? Let's find out. First off, let's get a quick disclaimer out of the way. It is completely normal for the manufacturers to make a profit. For a standard pair of earbuds, the raw hardware cost making up only 20% to 30% of the total retail price is actually standard practice. We have to factor in R&Ds, labors, marketing, distribution channels, and all those complex variables. Actual profit margins are trade secrets, so even if I know, I couldn't say it. Alright, let's get into it. Since manufacturers usually don't design earbuds with repairability in mind, I almost always have to destructive teardown to get inside these things. But if we have to make a comparison, for the average user, the XM5's charging case is actually repairable. As you can see, the top and bottom halves of the case shell aren't permanently fused together. The hinge is secured to the bottom chassis with screws. This means you can theoretically swap the battery, screw it back together, and resurrect your charging case. Opening up the chassis, we can see the battery is isolated and protected in its own middle compartment. The charging case mainboard sits on the top, and wireless charging coil is right at the bottom. The protection here is very well thought out, definitely boosting the durability and the reliability of the case. Sony uses an eco-friendly frosted injection modeled shell for the case, adding this intricately damped hinge mechanism and magnet assembly. The total cost is around $2.2. Normally, the shell parts wouldn't be this pricey. But hey, this is Sony. They wanted to be eco-friendly, but sometimes being green just costs more green. The battery comes through the spring power technology of the Shenzhen. From what I know, their clients roster including Xiaomi, DJI, Philips, and others. It has a 500 mAh capacity and costs about $1 a pop. Next, we got this PCB board, which is just look like flat cathode cola. That's your charging case main board. Right next to Type-C port, you can spot an ADI Max 77857 buck boost converter. This little guy is the keys to Sony's fast charging and wireless charging capabilities. It's also the reason Sony's wireless charging doesn't fry as easily as, let's say, nothing's. You can basically call this an automotive grade chip, which is naturally makes it pretty expensive. You get $1 for a piece. Since the XM5 supports wireless charging, you also see a Renesas IDT P9222 wireless power receiver IC on the board. That runs about $0.7. And here we got this NXP K32L2B series microcontroller. This is the smartest part of this PCB, the electronic brain. Because they opted for a 32-bit chip, its cost is noticeably higher than the controllers used by other brands, coming at roughly $0.9. These primary chips bounding the other minor ICs, plus this high-quality, high-density multi-layer FR rigged board worth about $0.75. The total cost of the entire PCB and its chips sets around $4. For a flagship earbuds, this kind of cost is completely normal. Here's the complete BOM list for the charging case, so you guys can judge for yourself if this pricing is reasonable. Moving on to the main event, the earbuds themselves. We're cracking them up right along the parting line. I gotta say, the plastic Sony uses on this cavity is way more heat resistant than other earbuds I've teared down. It doesn't warp easily. The second the heat gun stops, the shell immediately holds its shape. You can see that all components are linked together using FPC ribbon cables. Inside the XM5 cavity, they are using a steel shell coin cell battery from the Zenny power. Even though the capacity isn't printed on it, running the math giving us a generally terrifying number, 95 mAh. For the vast majority of the Bluetooth in-ears, that's nearly double their capacity. This is exactly why Sony can officially claim an 8-hour battery life with ANC turn on, a number that some earbuds only dare to advertise when ANC is completely off. The channel price for a single battery like this is around $2.5. Very pricey. Next up, we hit acoustic core, Sony's in-house 8.4mm dynamic driver. While the fundamental logic is still in dynamic driver, you can see they've built in a lot of special physical structure to tune the sound. Especially this front cover. It originally looked like this, complete with dedicated acoustic tuning cotton, but it just got warped by my heat gun. Based on the driver's construction, we can estimate that this acoustic system cost around $1.5 per unit. Pulling off the back cover reveals the Sony's pride and joy. The dual-core system featured a MediaTek developed V2 integrated processor plus the QN2E's HD noise cancellation processor. Flip over and there is Bosch 6X IMU gyroscope IC. This entire system is core tech of Sony's audio team, an absolute trade secret. So basing this is purely on the micro level SiP surface mount technology and massive R&D cost on their in-house chips, and inevitable yield loss and drivers op labor and material cost. I estimate this module cost no less than $8. Sony is using two laser engraved K55AD 223 MEMS mics alongside one K55A and 955 MEMS mics, and the first two acting as the feed-forward mics. One of these mics runs about $2.3, bringing the mic cost per earbuds to roughly $1. And that covers the completely teardown processing of the XM5. Now, let's lay out the full BOM estimate. So, what do you guys think? A cost of $50 translating to a $299 price tag means the retail price is roughly 6 times the BOM. That's definitely on the higher end in the Bluetooth earbuds market. Though, looking at these chips and drivers, it's not hard to see that Sony, as a traditional audio hardware giant, poured a massive amount of funding into the R&D. But at the end of the day, as a consumer, if it works for you, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. First of all, I just happen to be in that group of the people who find XM5 incredibly uncomfortable no matter how I wear them. So for me, using the XM5 feels like trying to beat Blastoise with an Charmander. The raw stats are there, but it always falls just a bit short. The audio quality, battery life, and the ANC, honestly, the XM5 performs like a beast. But if we are talking about R&D, the APP3 pushed ANC selling even higher. If we are talking overall performance, the Boss QC Ultra, AZ100, and MTW4 all have their own distinct advantages. Under these circumstances, I just don't think the XM5's price tag is particularly reasonable. Plus, no matter how good the XM5 is, I will always hate the normalization of the treating ear tips as an ongoing subscription, especially when they aren't that cheap. Eagle-eyed viewers probably already noticed this. Toward the end, I was so fed up with buying replacement foam tips that I just swapped them out for standard silicone ones. Actually, well, this caused the XM5's ANC performance to take a noticeable hit. Foam tips should be an option, I get the idea, but not a strict requirement. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If a pair of earbuds require you to buy new tips every 6 months, would you accept that? Let me know what you want me to tear down next. Enjoy the sound test, and I'll catch you in the next one.